tropical.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. Will the clerk please call roll?
Gail Tarson. Jess Reyes.
Present.
Freddie Bryant.
Here.
Thomas Martin.
Here.
Michaela Gatewood.
Present.
And Commissioner Garza.
Here.
We're going to review the minutes from the last meeting, which was April 2nd. And actually, that's not the correct one. 2 months ago? I was not here, so if there's any corrections that need to be made or feedback on them.
Everything looks good. I'll make a motion on approving the minutes.
Is there a
I second that.
Thanks, Jess. Freddie with the motion and Jess with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Motion is carried. We're going to review the application for this meeting's lodger's tax funds. So first up is the 2021 community profile.
Sorry.
Kim.
Thomas, thank you. Thank you for having us. As you know, the community profile serves as the official relocation guide for our newcomers, visitors, and new military personnel traveling to our community. It has a vast circulation in New Mexico, Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, and we actually sent it to a little bit more visitor centers this past year. It's distributed to all the visitor centers and Chamber of Commerce's statewide. So we distribute not only to all the chambers and visitor centers, but to hundreds of events, workshops, and the biweekly of Kennan Air Force Base. And we are asking for the $10,000 to help us print more, to bring more tourists and visitors to Clovis.
Nothing new.
Nothing new, other than we know who our artists are going to be for Dragon Main this year. So that's going to be able to put in the 2021 community profile.
Good. That's a biggie.
Yes, it is.
So who is it?
It'll be 38 Special and
Oh,
seventh
same
time
group?
down.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
The only thing I had was just on your advertising plan and budget, you listed 10,000, you requested 10,000, but the total marketing was listed at 15,000
Did I
at
miss?
the bottom line.
Oh,
And I'm sure it's just
typo.
typo or
Yes,
pulled
sir.
over from a previous
Yes,
one.
sorry. My apologies.
So we're going to go with the 10,000.
Yes, please.
Has it always been available online?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That was all I had. Does anyone else have any questions? Kim, I think we're good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. All right. The second one, I don't know if I can say this.
We have
I know.
audience,
An
maybe
audience,
children
so-
around.
We're going to go with the CKA Entrepreneurs, New Mexico Small Business Advisors. Lisa, you want to tell us about this?
Sure. Do I need to push? Oh, okay, it's on. Good evening, you guys. Yes, the CAE and New Mexico Small Business Advisors is a really cool program that we're starting. In Santa Fe, there is a CKAE, and they have started this program with entrepreneurs in their community to try to provide a type of membership, not membership, but a type of gathering where people could get together and as entrepreneurs and share services and share all the tools and services that they've been able to utilize and grow with each other and help promote entrepreneurs in our community. Or in their community. It's been extremely successful. They started off with about 12 people, 500 people now that follow and attend their different meetings. What this is for is it really helps those small businesses to utilize the local resources, the different, utilize each other as well. It's a really great program. It was developed by an entrepreneur in Santa Fe, and we have been selected as the first pilot project. They're hoping to spread this over the nation at some point. This year, they are looking to just start with one pilot project. We've been selected. It was a $5,000 sign up to become a pilot project, and we received a grant to be able to do that. But we're asking for funding to help us market it and promote it and have some promotional material for it and to help bring it to Clovis so that way then it can be a tool that Clovis small business owners have, and it'll also be a great way for us to bring in new businesses into Clovis as well too, because it'll be an opportunity for new businesses to find resources and find services amongst themselves. And then also the advisor program is a secondary program. That's one that we've been selected as another pilot community. There are 5 communities in the state of New Mexico that are going to be starting this as a pilot one. This is a really cool program. What we're doing, this falls under the New Mexico Main Street. They have taken this initiative, one of their Resiliency Alliance program, under the Resiliency Alliance program, and one of our revitalization specialists. And what they're doing is they're creating a service where we would be allowed to give our small businesses here in town, which would start with our district and then it go throughout the community, to provide services with merchants that are in other communities. So in Santa Fe and Albuquerque right now, they have a grouping of about 40 members who have volunteered to be mentors for small businesses in our communities. So this will allow them services to reach out to those mentors, and let's say they had a question on they weren't sure how to do something on their QuickBooks. They weren't sure how to, follow a certain new tax law. They weren't sure how to handle a situation with an employee. These are all things that, might just take a 20-minute phone call to someone that could be of service with a mentor that could really help walk you through it, that has a familiar business. A brewer might have questions regarding their insurance. This is a great way that they could talk to another business of that same type, and we want to market that to our community and get our businesses involved in that. And we believe that it'll also help spur more businesses and more entrepreneurial growth here in our community. And that's really what both of these programs are, is for entrepreneurial growth.
Are you looking to combine the two groups together, or will be these?
I think they'll
separate?
overlap. Majority of the services that they offer will, you'll find some of the same people that'll want to utilize both services. It's a great program to just try to have both of those available. They kind of, the entrepreneur, the KAE program will be a membership base where it'll be here in town. So most of those members would be people who would be able to talk to other businesses here locally. But if there's maybe a business that's not willing to share their information because they're a competing business, then they need to go to, Albuquerque or Santa Fe, where maybe somebody would be a little bit more giving of some information, and that's where the other advisory piece would fall into play. So we're really hoping to market this to begin with in the Clovis area, and to also the entrepreneur program to outside of our area, because we want to bring in entrepreneurs into Clovis. And right now, Clovis has seen a huge impact with, our downtown has seen a huge impact with new businesses and new entrepreneurs investing, and we want to continue that and provide a service for all of them.
Is this a free service for them?
Yes.
And is this once-a-year program, or?
No, we are hoping to have these, what we would do with the KAE program is we would have meetings held monthly is what our goal is to do. Hopefully a minimum of at least every other month right now with virtual meetings, but once we're able to go to an in-person meeting, we're hoping to utilize those at locations as well that are here in the community. So other businesses would host them.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if this is a qualifying event. It's from the standpoint of, it's not a tourist-related event. It's not drawing people in from outside. It's a great program, it sounds like, but I'm not making the jump from trying to develop entrepreneurs to how is this related to tourists and drawing folks into town to visit our community. Can you get me there? I mean,
Sure.
I'm just not,
So-
I'm not seeing it. Is it a conference? I mean, I can see it from, are we planning on having civic center space? I mean, you talk about different venues, but you keep talking local.
Right. There is a quality of life aspect to it for all of our businesses here, but we're really hoping that we're trying to promote our businesses that we have, help them grow and be successful. And by doing that, we'll be pulling in more tourism, but we are also marketing this to other people who are outside of our community to try to get them to invest in Clovis as well. So when we have investors that come from Lubbock, Amarillo, they come and they spend the night and they want to be a part of this. And one of the things that Santa Fe has seen with their KAE program is that they do have a lot of people that come to these meetings that are coming and spending the night because they're interested in investing into their community.
Thank
So does this need to be a separate request for each, for the KAE versus small business advisors? Are they going to be marketed in the same marketing, or is it going to be marketed differently?
No, we would market them a little bit differently, but the reason why I packaged them together is because they follow some of the same services, and we would still market it to all of the people who are interested in both of those programs, because they would all be for entrepreneurs.
And then anticipated attendance, it's as low as 15, as high as 500.
Mm-hmm.
Is that based on Santa Fe's initial numbers and then growing to their current numbers?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's where I got those figures from.
How long did it take for them to grow to 500?
I believe they've only been established for about 16 months, so they've grown pretty quickly.
Did they happen to have their numbers on how many folks from outside of Santa Fe were attending versus inside of Santa Fe?
I don't have that available to me right now, but I could definitely reach out and get some information on that.
And a couple questions on the advertising plan and budget. Second line item is a banner. Is that displayed in town? Is that at the venue?
Yes, so we would display that at the venue prior to the event, so we can encourage people to see it for the event and then also during the event as well. But we'd want to utilize that for trying to gain attention that the event is going to be happening.
And then print advertising, the last item, is that locally distributed? Is it at
Majority of the
event?
print advertising would be more like signage that would be for local. We could take that as far out as need be because we do want to have marketing materials that go to our outside communities as well. Everything that happens here in Clovis, also we service a greater hub, so we do want to market to Melrose, to Grady, to Muleshoe. All of those areas have entrepreneurs as well that can learn from and utilize each other in our communities.
Does anyone else have any questions?
No, I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
So next one is also yours. Revitalize and socialize Clovis Recovery Reopening fall/winter community events.
Yes, so we, as you guys know, we usually host events in the fall time. We usually host them all throughout the year. Unfortunately, this year we haven't been able to do so due to COVID restrictions. We would like to plan a reopening and socialization recovery event once we're given the okay. We want to be able to roll with it as soon as we get the okay from the governor to have public events. We really are hoping for an October timeframe. We would like to host in Halloween. Obviously, we usually have our annual Halloween event that we do, but we still want to be able to prepare for having events once we're given the approval to do so with the governor's allowance. We are also working on trying to do some drive-up events where people could have even like a food truck Friday or something like that, where we could have people come in, enjoy the services without having to get out of their cars. We've also been working with another partnership here in town about potentially doing a drive-in concert where people could stay in their car, have vehicle lengths between them. The state standard is right now that you can do so with having two vehicles parking spots apart from you, and some other communities have been successful in having those. And we'd like to see something that we're able to do to start revitalizing and socializing people again, even if we have to do it in some creative ways. Obviously, it's important for our people in our community to start feeling like they're part of something, and we want to be ready to go. If we have to continue to do it in a social distancing standard, we'll do so, but we're really hoping that we're going to be able to be in the okay and in the clear here by the end of October to start having some events, although I'm very optimistic. So.
Yeah.
Do you have a place in mind for the concert?
We have a couple different locations where we've talked to some different partners that could be able to do it with us. We do have the 8th and Main project downtown, that parking lot, which we have a small staging area. We also have the Curry County Fairgrounds parking lot that we could do it if we needed to. Even the high school, that we have some larger parking lots, potentially even the old Raintree parking lot. And we do have a DJ who we've been able to work with who does have radio frequency service, so he could program it to all go through a radio frequency as well, if we did the drive-in.
Okay, I think the event center would be the most appropriate one
That's
because of the alcohol involved.
we would plan not to have alcohol at this event.
Okay.
Just being that we want it to be a family-friendly event. If we do a drive-in, and because it would be in cars, we wouldn't want to promote the drinking in a car.
Okay.
So, but we would have food. We would like to try to get food vendors and so forth out there, and porta potties and stuff to make sure. We do have standards that the state has released on what we're allowed to do with drive-ins, and we would follow those orders, including having traffic requirements on where to put vehicles and making sure that they go in the right spots.
How quickly do you think you can make this happen?
I would say probably 4 weeks would be realistic.
And I had a question on the advertising plan and budget again. The banner, is that at the just from a local versus outside of the area? Banner and the PVC sign inserts, are those locally displayed locally?
Yes.
At the event? Okay. And then under the employee and organizer, that line item says part-time help for 2 months to plan and organize. Is that based on this opening up and then doing multiples once it does open up? Okay.
We'd hope to have more than one event. It just depends on how aggressive it is and how difficult it is to put it together. Like I said, we're hoping that that's our backup option to do the drive-in concert. We'd really like to have social events where people can actually socialize, but if we don't have a okay for that, then we're ready to go with that as well. Our goal is to get people involved with people again.
It might be working for some people not to hang around with other people.
At the other communities who did the drive-in, do you know if it had people stay overnight in hotels, or was this more just a community?
I'm not 100% sure. I know Lovington just had one. They were very successful. They actually even did some of their outreach for their census and so forth in it too. So they were able to kind of combine some efforts with it. I know that they had people from Hobbs and the surrounding area coming to it. So I don't know, and I think a couple of their bands that they had were from just outside the area, so I believe some of their bands spent the night. We're hoping to try to utilize this also to get some of our bands that haven't had any business and haven't been able to do events and haven't been able to book anything, to be able to help use some of our local vendors.
Good question.
Mr. Chairman, it's kind of a unique situation, obviously, with not knowing what the public health orders are going to consist of, but typically, when we award money to an event, it's a planned event, has dates, et cetera, that are associated with it. And in the past, when those events did not occur, or if they had to be moved, the applicant has had to come back in the past because that's not what they originally applied for. Once again, it's kind of a unique situation, not knowing what the public health orders are and not being able to plan accordingly. But as the face of the application here and face value of it is, what you'd be approving is, hey, have some events, not sure when, not sure why, because we're not sure. It's kind of very open.
And if we're unable to have events, then we wouldn't spend the money either, obviously. So we would make sure that went back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's a unique situation because you're not able to make a decision on whether or not you want to support a particular event or not with lodger's tax.
Yeah. And I don't think that's a question you can answer.
No, I
So-
can't.
Right. So, I mean, yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting one. And I mean, it sounds, it's, I think everybody, well, I think it sounds like we need it. It's tough when who's determining need. So, yeah, I think it would be fun, as long as it works within the balance. But again, if you can't, there are no details. It is difficult. So. Good. Thanks, Lisa. That is it for the three, for this meeting's review. So, does anybody want to take a break? Take 5 minutes? Okay. So it is 5:52. We'll be back at 5:57. What? Someone wanted to use the restroom, Vicki.
Yeah, Vicky.
Just hurry it up. Vicki's got things. Still? So let's review the first application, 2021 community profile, requesting 10,000. And that's what we did in the past?
In the past, we had awarded 5,000. This last year, we awarded it in two separate awards. We awarded 5,000, and then they came back and asked for an additional 5,000. So this last year, we did award $10,000 total, but it was in two separate requests.
Okay. And I guess, Kim, have you seen any decline in requests
No.
with COVID?
No, we've actually received more. We've been mailing out something twice a week since COVID, you know. Even when we were at home, working from home, we were still getting requests, so either Nick or I would go to the office and we would.
We're not to the end of the year yet, but.
You're talking about for 2019, we didn't have any, but for 2020, we have some still, but not a whole bunch.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Just, I mean, the old 2020 or 2019 profile is.
Yeah, 2019, we ran out in October, and 2020, we still have some.
When we did the two different requests, did you get is it better to get it as one for a printing cost? I mean, or was it okay to get it in two different allocations?
No, I think we just came back and asked because we were printing more copies.
So you print them locally?
We got two bids, and we went with the Slate Group this year. They're from Lubbock,
Lubbock.
but they were a chamber member. Mhm.
But-
Because the Daily farms it out, so it actually wasn't printed local.
But did you print a single amount, and then we
Yes.
allocated twice?
Yeah, we
to
printed
toward that?
one
Okay.
run.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do you get a better cost? Is it economies of scale? I mean, when they're printing, will you get a better price if you had printed 5,000 versus printing 10,000?
Yes, the cost goes down.
I would think the whole amount just for savings purposes.
All right.
And they don't have to, I was gonna say, we don't have to
Come back.
listen to her.
I would not have said that.
Wow,
So
We're on
10
the air. still.
that just,
10,000?
Yeah.
All right, so 10,000 on this. Second application, the KSE and Small New Mexico Business Advisors. I think to your point, the first question we ask is it going to bring tourism? And this doesn't, it's not a tourist-based idea, it's a recurring business idea, I guess. And that's my thought. You guys have any?
I think maybe
Very-
long-term, it would help with tourism if we, enhance the businesses within Clovis, and I think it's a great program, but I agree, I don't think that it follows the guidelines of bring tourism to Clovis immediately.
I agree with Michaela, just with everybody else, really, tourism issue.
All right, so we are not going to fund this one. And the third one, the revitalization and socialize, or revitalize and socialize, a reopening, and I think again to Mr. Howald's point is the board trying to fund something that we don't know the details of.
Like I said, the board meets every 2 months. And so if we're looking at an October event, I mean, she may apply for, because that's what your application said, was hoping to have something in October. You may award a partial amount for an event in October and see where we are. And because we'll meet again in October, and she's able to plan for something in the future, and actually be able to put dates on something.
So how does, so if we allocated a partial allocation and something was able to go through in October, is that what you're saying, or
Correct. I'm saying you can
just see how,
Yeah,
because
you
we
can
don't have
for
to
an
make a decision
event
for
in
November?
October,
Okay.
and then have her come back in October if there's able to have a future event. And so just, I don't know how many,
So when do we meet next?
Not until
November.
November?
correct,
Okay.
November.
Okay, Lisa, can I ask, is it, and I guess I'm confused, is it one event? Or is it or multiple events? Or you don't really,
So our
how it all
goal,
works together?
so our goal is to have events like what we usually do in the fall timeframe, which is multiple events. However, if we don't get the next governor's allowance to allow us to have social events, then we would go with the drive-in concerts, which would be then something that we would hold before the end of the year. Because the drive-in concerts we can do with the social distancing guidelines. Our goal is to
Okay.
have our fall events that we normally do, but if we can't do those, that's why the drive-in concerts are a backup, if we can't do the social events.
So until you know your event, you really can't advertise.
But we
Or
should know
move
before, I mean,
Based on the
before
governor's?
the beginning of October, we would know if we're able to have a Halloween event by the beginning of October, if the governor gives us the okay. But we wouldn't plan for something 1 week out. I mean, we would have to have a few weeks in advance notice, no matter what, for any of our events. So we would plan to go with the drive-in concert if we're not able to have our social event series that we normally do in the fall. Which the drive-in concert would be considerably more challenging to put together. It would be a bigger event.
So, I mean, typically you would have an event planned, October 15th. I'm just picking a date.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to host something, Taste This or something.
Right.
And as an alternate, if the public health order does not allow that event, our backup event is the drive-in.
Right, yes.
So what dates, I mean, what dates could the board assume that these events are going to occur on?
We're hoping to plan something for around the Halloween timeframe, because that's where we would want to be able to, if we're allowed to have social events, that's our goal. If we can't do it, then we would do a drive-in concert at the same timeframe.
So it's a Halloween event?
Yeah.
Regardless, it's just what event it's going to be
Right.
based on the governor's order?
Right, right.
And you can get advertising for whatever event pretty quick, as far as if the governor was to okay
Right.
she's okay one thing, but then okay the other.
Right, we would start out, usually when we're doing these Taste This events or Main Street mixers that we've been doing, we usually start our marketing about 3 weeks out. So if by the 1st of October, we didn't have an okay to be able to do a social event, that's why we would then go to the drive-in plan as our backup option. So our social events is what we're known for, the Main Street mixers, that's what we'd like to be able to do. But if we can't have that, we want to be able to still do something that's revitalizing and socializing our community. And that's where we would come in with the drive-in concert.
I don't think we want to be short on funds and not be able to promote an event properly. I understand what Mr. Howard is saying. You don't know exactly, but if you're saying, yeah, it's going to happen on the 31st or whatever, then I don't think we need to underfund it. Make sure that we have funds to promote whatever. I'm positive that something is going to come up and we're going to be allowed to do something. I think that citizens of Clovis need some entertainment. It's been a tough year for everybody, so I think we need to be prepared to entertain some of our people in the community. But again, I don't think we need to be underfunded on this issue here.
That's a good point, thanks. So 10,000?
Yes.
All right, we'll fund at 10,000. And that is, that's the final application, so, all those in, yeah, we're good to go, right, Vicki?
Need a motion?
Motion, sorry. So a motion to approve the three.
I'll put a motion.
Freddie on the motion,
I second that.
Jess seconds, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. Anything else we need to discuss tonight? Go to the order. All right, no further business. We are adjourned.
Is that record?